Welcome to the Story Selling Podcast, the show that explores the art and science of authentic marketing for purpose-led entrepreneurs. With me, your host and founder of the Story Selling Lab, Rob Drummond. This episode of the Story Selling Podcast is sponsored by my agency, the Story Selling Lab, where I help purpose-led entrepreneurs to generate a consistent flow of great clients using LinkedIn ads without funding the big tech Christmas party. To learn more, head to storyselling.biz. On with the show. A lot of my work involves helping clients to tell their story in their marketing, and we're telling their story to communicate who they are at the deepest possible level, to showcase why they do what they do. Often, if you're going to then distill what you do to a purpose-led statement, you need to have quite a lot of clarity over what your purpose actually is. There have been multiple storytelling projects that I've done, in the last year or two, where I've been helping a client tell their story. We've maybe spent, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours on the phone talking about their story, exploring how they got into doing what they are doing. But this idea of, if you're sending a LinkedIn conversation ad, which is a sponsored message, you haven't got that much space. You've only got the smallest slice of someone's attention. So you've got to be very deliberate about your wording. So you need a lot of clarity into what you stand for and what the purpose behind your work is. And more than that, you need to be able to put it into words very succinctly. You don't have a lot of words to play with here. Some clients that I work with, their work lends itself to this purpose-led statement more than others. If your work is very purpose-driven, if you can see something that is wrong in your marketplace and you're hell-bent on changing it, you serve a specific group of people and you have quite deep-rooted reasons as to why you do what you do, then for the right person, for the person that most needs your help and can afford to pay for it, hearing that why is perhaps the best way of initiating a relationship with them. Because if you just approach them and, if you're just another marketer, for argument's sake, offering another lead magnet, offering to solve the problem that they've been ignoring for 5 years, whatever that problem is. Maybe their accounts are in a mess, or, in my business, it's because people don't have systematic processes for generating and nurturing new leads. But some businesses are just a better fit for this purpose-led message than others. If your business is more, I was going to say conventional, and what I mean by that is that if the marketplace generally widely understands what you do, I'm thinking as an example, I'm thinking of like tradespeople, not to bash tradespeople in particular, but I don't work with a huge number of tradespeople. Often because in that situation, communicating why they fix roofs or why they do plumbing, it's actually not the main thing. The main thing is proving that they are knowledgeable, professional, can do a great job, are great value for money, are personable to work with, are respectful of your home if they're coming into your home. That's what you need to prove in that case. The use case for a purpose-led message is if the work that you do changes the life or the lives, if there's multiple people, if you work with couples, for instance, if your work changes the lives of your clients for the better, it might well be that the purpose-led template is the correct approach. What I found in testing the purpose-led template, and if you'd like to see some examples, you can go and grab a copy of my conversation ads template pack at storyselling.biz. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's an opt-in form down there. But you might need to spend quite a bit of time testing the wording, refining the wording. You're probably not going to get it right straight off the bat. This is an overall comment that I see in particular with LinkedIn ads, where it's easy to reach your exact right audience, or relatively easy, it's much harder to get the message right because you don't always know what's going to resonate. And the purpose-led message is one that you're probably going to need to test a few different variations of the wording. You're probably going to have to start off with, five different variations of the same theme. So yes, you're leading with your why. Yes, you're leading with your purpose, but don't just create one ad or two ads. Create 5 or 10 ads. In some respects, running effective conversation ads on LinkedIn, it is a bit of a brute force approach in terms of generating copy and generating messaging. So your purpose and your why you do what you do isn't going to change, but the way that you phrase it and the way that you introduce it to people is. And in some respects, there's almost infinite ways that you could word these things. And I would just go into this with the expectation that what you create first time off the bat, even if that messaging has worked in different media, might not work on LinkedIn. So you're going to have to go through this learning phase. But that was the first idea, was clarity. Was, to begin with, you need to have clarity on what your purpose is, why you do what you do, and how you're going to put that into words. The second idea I want to talk to you about today is specificity. Specificity relates to having a very specific audience that you can target, and then matching that with a very specific purpose that those audience members will resonate with. What I've seen in my work and my work with my clients is that the purpose-led template works best for clients that have a very specific audience. If your audience is, all companies of 100 employees and up in practically any industry, if you have quite a wide potential range of clients, I probably wouldn't lead with the purpose-led template because it makes it too hard to get the message right. It's much easier to get the message right if you have a much more specific criteria of who it is that you're trying to reach. Specificity here doesn't necessarily mean that you have a small audience. It could be quite a big audience, but it's a very specific group of people. There might be a lot of people in that group, but perhaps you only work with solo business owners in certain niches, for instance. If that is the case, then it becomes much clearer to figure out, what wording of your purpose and your why is going to resonate with that group. So the more specific you can be, both in terms of the targeting and in the way that you word your message, the more likely it is that the purpose-led approach is going to work. The third and final idea I want to leave you with today is the invite, which is how you sign off your message. This really relates to the call to action at the end. And what I've seen, what I've seen in testing this is that if you have a purpose-led ad where you open the ad and you talk and you bare your soul and you explain why you do what you do, and then you sign off the ad by saying, here's my 5 simple steps to increasing your income from LinkedIn ads, enter your email address below. It feels a bit jarring. You've started off the message by quite a high level by saying, this is why I do what I do, this is the journey that I'm on. The correct invitation at the end is to invite the person to subscribe to your list and join you on that journey. The most success I've had with this with clients is just inviting people at the end of the message saying, this is why I do what I do. I publish articles about this, about my topic every 2 weeks. Would you like to join us? And all we're doing with the call to action is we're inviting people to subscribe to the email list. When they subscribe to the email list, there might well be a lead magnet. There might well be the 5 steps to fixing your accounting system or whatever it is. But we're not leading with that in the ad. If you write a purpose-led ad, you have to keep things quite high level. Keep things focused on the destination that you're working towards and why you're working towards it. And then invite people to join you on that journey. That's what I've seen has worked best for my clients. Offering a specific lead magnet, in this case, hasn't worked so well. In summary then, the purpose-led template is one of the templates that I would use first if you have very strong held convictions about why you do what you do, and if you serve a very specific targeted audience and type of person who is going to resonate with that purpose. When they hear you verbalize it, it makes them feel something. It makes them feel something on the inside. That's why the purpose-led template can work really well. It doesn't work in all use cases, but that's generally the use case that I've seen it work well with. And if I've just described you and your business, then that, perhaps the purpose-led template, is the place to start. As I've said in this episode, be prepared to test quite a lot of different wording, quite a lot of different copy approaches. You're probably not going to get it right straight off the bat. And, be prepared to test a wide variety of wording around the same reasoning, around the same purpose, around the same why statement, but phrase it in different ways. You just don't know what's going to work. On the next episode, we'll move on and have a look at a very different approach to writing LinkedIn conversation ads, which is the results-led template, which is almost like the diametric opposite to the purpose-led template. With the purpose-led template, we're keeping things very top level, very sort of, this is the mountain that we're trying to climb. With the results-led template, we're looking more down at our feet and saying, this is what we've literally done for our clients. Would you be interested in learning more? So it's a very different approach. So we'll talk about the results-led template next week. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please do take a moment to subscribe for free to podcast notifications at storyselling.biz/podcast. When you opt in, you get a copy of my LinkedIn conversation ad template and also my lead incubator email sequence blueprint, which is the email sequence that I recommend you send to new contacts after they've responded to your LinkedIn ad or subscribed from your website. You can grab a copy of my book, Simple Story Selling, at storyselling.biz/book. And if you have listened to this and, you just like a bit of help with your LinkedIn ads on either, a done-for-you basis or a training basis, head to storyselling.biz/LinkedIn-ads. And otherwise, I will just say thank you for listening, and I will talk to you next week. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Story Selling Podcast, you'll want to make sure you're on my email list. Head to storyselling.biz/podcast, where you can opt in to future episode notifications and also download my lead incubator blueprint. You can also find my book, Simple Story Selling, on Amazon in paperback and Kindle formats. Thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you next time.